Hey guys, it's SpiderBite Next Gen Tactics. We've got some gameplay from Modern Warfare 3 to take a look at today, specifically the game mode called Face Off, which was just introduced last month. 4 maps were available, 2 to purchasers of Content Collection number 2, as well as subscribers to COD Elite Premium, and there were 2 free maps that were given to everybody. So the game mode is available to everybody in the playlist for Modern Warfare 3, and the 2 free maps were Ground and Erosion. We're going to be taking a look at Erosion and just talk a little bit about how to up your game on Face Off, sort of what to expect, and maybe some ideas or suggestions on class configuration. So one thing you'll need to be aware of and get used to is playing versus split screeners. There's actually a significant percentage of players in the face-off playlist that play on split screen, which isn't a huge deal, except they do have a bit of an advantage. They don't really need to communicate with each other. They can actually see each other's screen. They can pinpoint your locations, and they can see their teammates' kill cams. So it does offer them a bit of an advantage. But it's just something to accept, and it's more incentive for you to try and come out on top over these guys. And it's just a little more pronounced in these smaller maps, with the especially with the 2v2. It's just a bit of a more pronounced advantage versus 6v6 gameplay on other game modes. Weapon selection can be varied, and just go with personal preference. A lot of people are running shotguns, especially the striker. I don't really like running the striker. I'll run my my SMG. You can actually run a sniper as well. There are a lot of sight lines on the outsides of these maps. All 4 of them contain pretty long sight lines, so you can get away with sniping. The 2 game modes that run on these maps are Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirmed. So if you are going to snipe on Kill Confirmed, you just make sure you want to coordinate with your partner, because you probably won't be going to capture a lot of those dog tags after you're sniping guys across the map. So communication with your teammate is very, very important in 2v2s and the 3v3s, which they actually added. It wasn't available when these maps first released, but now you can actually run 3v3s. Develop simple callouts for locations on the map, and anytime you see an enemy player, call him out. Call him out where he's heading, if he's shooting at you, or whatever. Just try your best to identify their position for your teammates. Also, what I found is that a large percentage of players playing face-off run portable radar as their equipment, which basically forces you to run Assassin as your perk 2. For perk 3, I'm running Steady Aim. I would actually suggest Dead Silence. It depends on your playstyle. My playstyle, I actually like to move around the map a fair bit and like to keep mobile, so I think the Dead Silence is probably a better perk selection in that scenario. But if you're more hanging back or taking up position, Overwatch positions or whatever, depending on the map location, then you may want to select something other than Dead Silence. But for sure, if you're moving around the map quite a bit, I would definitely select Dead Silence for perk 3. Alright, for perk 1, I'd probably recommend either Recon or Sleight of Hand. I really wouldn't worry too much about Blind Eye. You're already covered for UAVs with Assassin, and for any other air support the enemy players might get. I mean, hopefully you're actually not letting them get enough kills in order to be able to call in additional air support. And you're talking, 4 or 5 kills in a row for them to call in those additional air support. So I'd go with Recon. You can use your concussion and flashbangs to actually mark and paint enemy targets on the minimap for yourself as well as for your teammate. And Sleight of Hand in those pinches where you really have to reload quick. Maybe you've killed one of the enemy players and the other one is lurking right around the corner from you. Let's jump on over to the strike package. I would probably suggest going with Specialist, and simply because a lot of players that we played against were actually running Assassin and Blind Eye. So if you do find that, and again, this is where if you have these custom slots, you can set up different class configurations depending on what the enemies are running. But your air support pretty much becomes useless when they are running Blind Eye. And you can also configure your perk unlocks for Specialists depending on your playstyle again and what the enemy players are using. You might want to go with, on perk 2, Hardline, and then run Assassin as your first perk unlock. Moving into lethal equipment, my preference is either Claymore or Semtex. I know guys like Hyper here actually like to run C4 and get those epic game-winning kill cams. For tactical, you can try running portable radar, but if you do find that the enemy players are running Assassin, then you might want to switch it up. Good combination to go with is concussion or flash grenade when you are actually running recon in your perk 1 slot. So some other things that I think are going to help you is identifying those areas on the map where most of the action takes place. And what I found on, especially on Erosion, is that center area with the center building. You have a ladder where you can get up to the 2nd floor. I mean, it's a very small building, but a lot of the action tends to happen in that center area. And you'll find that on the other maps as well, not necessarily the center area, but specific areas of the map where enemy players like to hang out or where a lot of the action is taking place. So pinpoint those areas, and also, I mean, especially identifying where enemy players are going to spawn in. Now, as you know, I mean, Modern Warfare 3 has had its issues with spawning. It's a little bit more pronounced on these smaller maps. Not so much in this game, but you do notice it, and it's just something to get used to and basically accept as you play on these maps, these smaller maps. Actually, after this gameplay is over, I'll run a little clip just showing you a spawn that we had, one of the enemy players had on Hypermole, and you know what you can expect on occasion. Like I said, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, and it's just something that you get used to and you basically need to accept as part of the gameplay on these smaller maps. You'll actually see me crouch walk a fair bit in this game. That's simply because I'm not using dead silence, I'm using steady aim, and I haven't actually gotten a whole lot of use out of my claymores. I haven't been putting them down. And you know, one suggestion to you guys, if you are going to run claymores, they don't get any kills if you don't put them down, so they're kind of useless sitting there in your inventory. So I think in this last part of the gameplay, we actually get a little bit more action going on in that center area, as I mentioned earlier, which is really a hot spot on this map, in my opinion, from the games that we've played on it. We actually have a player up in the top level, the 2nd story, and it's not really a level, it's just some platforms up top. So I'm going to come back and see if I can take him out. So there he is, and I'm sure his teammate is pretty close by. He just took Hyper out from the side window. All right, so we got him. It makes it tough. I mean, this is team deathmatch, obviously. I mean, if you're playing kill confirmed, it's a little more difficult to go up and get those tags as well when they're on the 2nd floor. And one other thing that I'll suggest, when you get kills, move. If you get a kill, move from your position, especially playing against split screeners. You saw there I killed the one guy. It was actually the guy who respawned in that I killed. But I killed him up on that 2nd level, and a few short seconds later, I mean, he was coming after me, and I actually changed positions, and that enabled me to actually take him down that 2nd time. That was kind of a panic knife there on my part. I think I was 1 kill away from the specialist bonus right there, but I did a little panic knife. I didn't have commando equipped. Oops, wrong game. That was Modern Warfare 2. My bad. So one thing that I hope that Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer Games, and Activision brings to the table with these maps is actually bringing them into some of the other game modes. It's unfortunate that you can only play Team Deathmatch and Kill Confirmed. Although these maps are small, they're not necessarily that much smaller than the smallest maps that were actually released with Modern Warfare 3. So you should be able to actually bring these maps into some of the other game modes. Especially Search and Destroy, that's a game mode I really love. But even like free-for-all, as well as domination, I think there's room for that with these maps, and who knows, maybe that will happen in the future. So we're 4 kills away from winning the game. 30 kills in total, wins the match in Team Deathmatch, and then I'll show you that little clip, the spawn clip. It's kind of funny. Every time I look at it, I have a little chuckle. But drop down here. I'm just spraying like a madman. Thankfully, I am running steady aim in that position right there. Alright, 1 kill away. Let's see if we can get a game-winning kill cam right here. Alright, and that's it. So that was Face-Off and Erosion. Hyper went 16-11, I went 14-7, so not too bad. I actually haven't seen too many rage quitting on Face-Off as well. I mean, you'll run into that from time to time, as well as people camping out in certain positions, but that's just something you need to deal with and are probably used to in playing Modern Warfare 3. Alright, so let's get to that kill cam. So this was on the map Getaway. This is Hyper's perspective. So he gets a kill here, and then watch this guy spawn in and knifes him in the face. Alright, and I actually killed this guy, so I killed that player, and he spawned in right in front of Hyper, like 5 feet in front of him, basically, and put his knife into Hyper's face. Let's check that out again. So again, it's just something you got to get used to and accept. It doesn't happen that often, but often enough to be a bit of an annoyance. Outside of that, the gameplay in this game mode face-off and on these smaller maps is pretty intense. So long as the enemy players aren't really camping out and just staying in one position, lying prone, waiting for you to walk by, you can have a lot of fun with it. Anyways, that's it for now. For more, make sure you check us out over on gtpo.com/nextgentactics for plenty more Modern Warfare 3 gameplay, news, and information. I'm Spiderbite, and I'm out.